While the injury attorneys at The Advocates can't actually prevent you from being in a cycling accident, they will be by your side to support you following your accident. Our legal services won't cost you a dime out of pocket, so when you need an injury attorney, call us. We're The Advocates, your Utah personal injury attorneys. You didn't deserve to be in an accident, but you do deserve an advocate.
This is the Monty Show, the truth in sports talk streaming. When you want unbiased opinions about your favorite team without the spin, all you have to do is find the Monty Show, streaming live and available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week on YouTube. And now, here's Monty.
Hey, the Monty Show. Happy Monday. Hello. Yeah, I have a lot of energy today, rocking a PDH. What do you want from me? The Advocates, the best injury attorneys in the business. If you have to ask, you're not living life on the right side of the line. The best injury attorneys in the business. You know what I love about the Advocates? The fact that we raised over $1,000 for their bike campaign, and they were so incredibly thankful to all of you who made that possible, because they care about their community. That's what's amazing. They're always giving back. And listen, if you've been in an accident, did you get hit on your bike this weekend? Did some a-hole on an electric bike go 30 miles an hour down a sidewalk and hit you? You didn't deserve that, but you do deserve an attorney to fight for you, somebody that'll let you focus on getting back to the best version of yourself. Yeah, that's the Advocates, my friends, where you never pay a penny out of pocket to work with the Advocates. In fact, you can chat with an injury attorney live online for free right now at theadvocates.com. Make sure you tell them you heard about it on the Monty program. Hi, Jake.
How are we doing?
Fair to mid-range. How are you?
Doing great.
So this Gonzaga to the Big 12 story. Now, listen, you know I would never on this show, I would never tell you I told you so or that we had it first. Like, we're too humble for that.
Yeah, I mean, we would never. I mean, that's kind of outside of our comfort zone.
But I do believe we have been telling you this for over a year now. And I do believe we have been telling you that Gonzaga has had an invitation to join the Big 12 for over a year now. And what's amazing is the national media has slowly and surely confirmed that. Well, not slowly and surely anymore. Reports emerged over the weekend that Gonzaga is continuing to have conversations with the Big 12. And what's amazing about it is right now, Gonzaga does not seem to have at least enough of a reason to pull the trigger and join the Big 12. And Gonzaga basketball specifically is trying to leverage the Big 12. And I think this is one of the key tipping points, is trying to leverage the Big 12 to join as a full member instead of basketball only, which is the same issue that UConn has with joining a conference. Gonzaga doesn't want to just move their basketball program into the Big 12 and leave all of their other sports behind. And yes, while it is true that Gonzaga does not play football, they have a prolific athletic department, and they want the pro rata they deserve for their entire athletic department. But here's a question that I have, and I think this has been the question now again for over a year. Why now would Gonzaga move? Why now would Gonzaga, specifically basketball, leave the WCC to join the Big 12? And I have to tell you, after talking to sources over the weekend, I just don't see that there is a reason to do it now. In 2 years, sure. In 18 months, a year, I think it's going to be a fight. I think something significant is going to have to happen. Is that the ACC situation? Is that the Super League situation? I don't know. Is that the expansion of the NCAA tournament? I don't know. Something will have to happen to move Gonzaga off their spot and push them to join the Big 12. Now, I was also told that the Big 12 really is the only league that Gonzaga is looking at. They don't view themselves as a fit in the Big 10. I think they recognize that the Big 12 is one of the power basketball leagues. And I also think this conversation around the ACC and the location of Spokane, Washington versus the footprint of the ACC makes that an untenable situation. The Big 12 is the lone P4 spot for Gonzaga basketball. And Jake, I still to this day believe it is a very good fit.
Yeah, I mean, I think that, you know, whether it's the Big 12 or their current conference, like both of those are great fits. But I think that, you know, it's so funny, you know, in this conversation at the beginning when we first told you about this, a lot of people were like, well, they don't play football, so that's really going to hurt them, or like, you know, somehow not playing football is like going to be some big issue. And I think it's exactly the opposite. It's funny how not playing football puts them in a position where they just don't need to move quite yet. I think that Gonzaga wants to put themselves in the best position possible for, you know, as long as possible. And, you know, when you think about, you know, the tournament expanding, when you think about, you know, where the money in college athletics is going, that to me is what would move Gonzaga off the spot. Now, obviously, it goes without saying in their current situation, they're making a ton of money. Obviously, you've got pretty much a free pass into the tournament every single year. You typically make deep tournament runs. Like, you're in a really good place. But if a super league, you know, were to happen, or structure in college athletics were to change, that is when Gonzaga would move. And I think that, yeah, I would agree with them. They're not a Big Ten team. They're not certainly an SEC team or an ACC team. That just doesn't make a whole lot of sense. So to me, I think that I think that the Big 12 is the best fit, but I don't know. It feels like we're just sort of on pause. It feels like we're just waiting. We're waiting, whether it's Gonzaga, whether it's football, whether it's changing conferences, for really anybody. That sort of predicament has come to an end for now, because I feel like everything is just sort of status quo. Like, we've got the extension of the college football playoff set up. The basketball tournament is fine for now. Obviously, conversations about expanding that are happening. So there's just, to his point, there is no impetus for them to move yet. But I think Gonzaga is one of those schools that is always looking for greener pastures, always looking for a way, you know, to just make more money, be in a better position. And I also don't think it's lost on them that you now are in a time in college athletics where you always have to be hunting. You can never be satisfied, because you never know what decision you make today, how that's going to impact you in 3 years. I really do believe that, you know, the Pac-12 melting down put a lot of these schools on notice. Like, hey, you better be like really diligent and careful with the decisions you make now, because that could end you in 3 years, or your conference in 3 years. And you got to be really careful with that.
Well, and if I'm the Big 12, I'm doing everything I can do to shore up my stability now, because depending on what happens with the ACC, I think depending on where we wind up going with, and again, call it a super league, call it whatever you want to call it, wherever the football division is going in the NCAA, I think you're looking at a situation where if the ACC melts down, all bets are off. I mean, you like this bullshit about Kansas joining the SEC.
Yeah.
Kansas is not joining the SEC out of nowhere, right? Like there was all this talk over the weekend about how, you know, I guess it was Friday, that Kansas was going to join the SEC. There's absolutely no truth to that. That conversation is rooted in, hey, what happens if? And there's a lot of that. It is purely conjecture that Kansas would join the SEC.
But I think that's the danger in the time we're in. Like, the conjecture pieces turn into, you know, like accepted facts, like in 5 minutes. And it's like, what? Like, Kansas is not a fit in the SEC right now. The only way that a team like Kansas or any of the premier brands in the Big 12 now would get into the SEC is if the conference melted down and they had nowhere else to go. It doesn't, like, I feel like people want to say, oh, well, hey, Texas and Oklahoma. Well, why not Kansas? Well, because Texas and Oklahoma are two of the biggest brands in the country.
Football brands.
And with all due respect to Kansas, you have an awesome basketball program, but your football program is not like a national power. It's a good program. It's not, I'm not saying it's crap, but it's not Texas good. It's not Oklahoma good. Like, you're not competing for national championships on the football field at Kansas. And there's a clear difference there.
Well, and Kansas, obviously, one of the most attractive parts about Kansas to anybody is that they make money. They bring people to the TV. That's attractive about Kansas. But the idea that Kansas is joining the SEC and it's a done deal is complete fabrication. Anybody telling you that has no idea what they're talking about.
Anytime you hear, oh, it's a done deal, it's probably not a done deal.
Yeah, and I look at this Gonzaga situation. It is very different. When you are Gonzaga and you have had an invitation to join the Big 12 for over a year, and you have continued those conversations, because make no mistake about this, Gonzaga has continued the conversation. The Big 12 has been in pursuit. There's no question.
I like Gonzaga.
Gonzaga has continued those conversations. They easily could have put an end to that. They did not. And they did not because I think they know the time is coming where they will need to make that move. They know that the Big 12 is where they should end up. There's not really another option for them. I look at these situations where you have these rumor mongers that frankly have never, and I agree with you when anybody says, oh, it's a done deal. It's not a done deal.
When's the last time you actually heard a story come through when someone was like, oh, hey, it's a done deal? I remember, oh, hey, they're texting us. Donovan's getting traded to the Knicks. It's a done deal.
It's not a done deal.
Actually, it's not a done deal. I remember, oh, yeah, the Pac-2 are going to get $600 million. It's a done deal. Yeah, it turns out that didn't happen either. So the idea that everyone wants to say, oh, well, Gonzaga would never go to the Big 12. There's no way it's never going to happen.
Yet now everybody has confirmed they have an offer, and it's simply a matter of when, not if.
Yeah, because timing is everything. And I feel like this is lost on people. Just because the two parties haven't formalized an agreement yet doesn't mean that there's not an understood agreement when the time comes. If you think that people aren't planning 3 to 5 years in advance, you're out of your mind. And all the conversations happening today are about 3 to 5 years into the future, because that's all this game is about. It's ensuring your future.
But I also think there has to be another significant shift to get people off their spot. You're not going to get, again, if you want to talk about Kansas to the SEC, you're not going to get Kansas to the SEC just out of the blue, nowhere.
Just for no reason.
It's going to have to, if the ACC melts down, that is a basketball conference. If the ACC melts down, you are going to have residual unintended consequences of that. And the bigger question is, if the ACC melts down, does the Big 12 survive? Because I am certain that is not 100%, that is not a given. If the ACC melts down, there is going to be incredible instability if you are not the Big 10 and if you are not the SEC.
Oh, and I think if the ACC melts down, that the Super League thing is going to get pushed forward for obvious reasons at that point. And then, the real question is, okay, if the Big 12 gets eliminated as we know it today, what is, Brett Yormark's role in pushing, what were his schools forward? Because that's the thing that I think is really interesting when you look at, the SEC and the Big 10 running things. Like you look at, ACC leadership, folks like Brett Yormark, like what is their role in college athletics moving forward? Because we've talked all about hey, college basketball at some point is going to need their own commissioner. Like college football kind of has their own commissioner in Greg Sankey, but it's not obviously formalized. So it's just, I'm telling you, all this stuff is fluid. And this Gonzaga to the Big 12 conversation is the perfect example of it. Like they're both on the same page. They both agree it's a good fit. There just needs to be something that pushes the ball forward.
Well, and I think you also have to understand who you're talking to. Like for us, and I say this all the time, and I think we get questioned about, who we talk to or who are your sources, fat ass.
Monty, can you tell me your sources in DM, bro?
When do we ever talk off the top of our head? When do we have opinions that are not based on what power players in college sports have told us? Never. It's the same thing in the NBA. You don't talk about stuff until you know. And I can tell you The reason we were so far ahead on Gonzaga is because we knew, because we talked to people who know. We talked to people making the decisions. And I can tell you that there is no substance to Kansas leaving the Big 12 on a random Tuesday in, May of 2024. There's just no reason for them to. Do you guys understand that they are in a very influential position in the conference? Gonzaga is not. They are in a place where they are making really good money, and they have a very clear path to make really good money so they can get into the college football playoff. And it's realistic for Kansas football to get into the college football playoff as a member of the Big 12, which is really nowadays the only way for you to make top money in this game. If you're in college basketball, who has a greater position than Kansas in the Big 12? Does Kansas joining what is an emerging, I think clearly growing SEC basketball product, does that help them in the current incarnation of the NCAA tournament? It certainly does not. It certainly does not. You'd be stepping back to a lesser basketball conference. So it doesn't help you in football, and it doesn't help your profile in basketball. Why would you do that now? And this is the thing that I continue to ask you. Use some common sense. Don't send me 1,000 DMs saying Kansas is leaving for the SEC.
Via social media.
Be smarter than that. There's no reason for them to do that. Now, you want to talk about Gonzaga in comparison to Kansas? There's all kinds of reason for Gonzaga basketball to join the Big 12. And the bigger question is, what is Brett Yormark and his constituency in the Big 12 willing to give up to get Gonzaga to join the conference? That's the bigger question. And the answer is, I think, unknown. I don't think anybody has a clear idea of what Brett Yormark has offered to Gonzaga and what Gonzaga has countered to Brett Yormark.
And I think that offering changes as time goes on.
I think it does.
I think the offering, the offering is only as good as the current marketplace and the current conditions. And I think that again, there's so much change happening in college football. I would be surprised if there was like a way over the top offer from Brett Yormark based on the fact that, the conferences and its member institutions are going to have to pay out on these lawsuits that are taking place. So they're not going to want to take less revenue from the TV partners. Obviously the NIL situation is costing more and more money. And I think that's the hard sell is like, get the brand Gonzaga. Obviously you want them in the Big 12, but you have to be able to make the money on it work properly. And I think that,
but wait. That goes exactly back to why Texas and Oklahoma were such an easy move to the SEC.
Yeah.
Is the SEC a better football product than the Big 12? No question about it.
Yeah.
No question about it. Does moving Texas and Oklahoma to the SEC raise their profiles and make them more money? No question about it. There's just no argument.
Yeah.
Those are football blue bloods who want to compete at the very highest level. The Big 12 does not allow you to compete at the very highest level, in my opinion, in football. It doesn't. We've talked about this. There's not especially with Texas and Oklahoma gone, there is not a brand in the Big 12 Big 12 football. It is, and again, I just reiterate, it's why it is so crippling that Baylor is not good, that Oklahoma State does not compete at the top of college football on a regular basis. It's absolutely crippling that Joey McGuire and Texas Tech were an absolute unquestionable disappointment last year.
And I think the Big 12 has progress to make in the tournament. I love the attendance they had into the tournament. Obviously had a bunch of spots, but to get shellacked the way you got shellacked in the tournament wasn't ideal. And that's why I say, like, again, I think they're in agreement. They would love to do business together. Like Gonzaga's a good fit, but I think that, the conference is in a place where they have to ensure that their current level of financial stability stays in place until they know, okay, hey, we're going to head to the Super League model, or we're going to head this way or head that way. Cause that's the big thing right now. I'm telling you, There is a ton of uncertainty about where the sport is going. Like, where is college football going? Where is the tournament going? Because ultimately, the reality is where college football goes, that kind of decides just how aggressively you would expand the tournament. Because if football is in a really good place and you're making money in that area, that's going to obviously allow you more flexibility in basketball. It's going to allow Brett Yormark and company to say, okay, cool, we're comfortable, maybe paying over market value on an annual basis for Gonzaga. We're comfortable, like, because if Gonzaga's asking for, let's call it $17 million a year, let's say, like, not a full share, but a 75% share. Maybe the conference isn't comfortable with that right now. Maybe the conference is only comfortable with a half share, and they're still leaning on them about not having football. Like, who the hell knows? But that's kind of the point.
I also go back to the fact that college football is becoming exclusive, not inclusive.
Mm-hmm.
You are pushing more universities out of the college football playoff. And everybody's like, well, Monty, how's that possible? They're expanding. If you really think that we're going to be at 12, I would be shocked if a year from now we were not expanding the college football playoff on a P4 level. You are pushing the G5s out.
Mm-hmm.
You are in, whether you like it or not, it is what it is. That's where this is going. And I think there's so many ingredients right now, lawsuits, whatever you want to point to. There's no question that the college football playoff, we're winning a championship in college football and earning top dollar is more and more exclusive. Again, I just go back to, why did Texas and Oklahoma move? Because it gave them the opportunity to make more money. That includes a higher fee per school in the SEC. It includes more opportunity to win at the highest levels and guarantee yourself better positioning. The great Notre Dame question: what does the longer road mean for Notre Dame in the college football playoff? I don't know. It's yet to be determined. We'll find that out. But for Texas and Oklahoma, the equation is very clear: win your conference or be one of the top 12 teams, and you are in. If you are Kansas, if you go to the SEC, your chances of ever going to the college football playoff, in the next 2 years, let's say you move today, are you a college football playoff contender? Not in the SEC, you're not. No, you're not. And Kansas football has done some amazing shit over the last couple of years. I don't think any of us question that.
Yeah.
But I'm going to go ahead and say that beating BYU is a lot easier than beating Ole Miss.
Yeah, I mean, I think Kansas in their best year is probably a like, in the current format, the expanded format, I think it's probably anywhere between a 12 seed and a 20 seed, right? Like, you're a fringe team that's in, or you're just kind of a top 20 team. That's their range, in my opinion. And there's nothing wrong with that. I think that the problem is that, again, you're not good enough to be in every year. So that inherently means that you are not good enough to be in the SEC.
How's that gone for Missouri? Yeah. How's that gone for Texas A&M?
I was gonna say, I think Missouri is a really good comp. I think that those two schools are pretty level.
Nebraska. How's that gone? How's the Big Ten? How's that Big Ten bread gone for Nebraska?
Yeah,
not well.
Yeah, I mean, think about how Kansas is doing in the Big Ten.
How did Colorado do? And how did Colorado do in the Pac-12? Irrelevant until Prime showed up. Like, you look at the schools that move, it is very difficult to ascend. Look how long it took Kyle Whittingham at Utah to ascend to the top of the Pac-12. A long time.
Yeah.
And again, I can't find somebody to tell me that Kansas is going to the SEC.
Yeah. Well, it just doesn't make sense.
Can't find, and you hear all these people just running away. Oh, Kansas. The only way, and I think this is the last thing I'll say about this until there is an update. The only way Kansas to the SEC happens is if there is significant change systematically in college sports. The ACC melts down. The Super League happens. Whatever you want to point to. because the NCAA tournament expanding does not move Kansas. Kansas is a powerhouse in college basketball. That will not move their conference. That will only help Kansas, will not hurt Kansas. The SEC, I don't see an avenue for the SEC to land Kansas as a one-off. That's beyond the fact that would be very difficult for Kansas to justify that move. There's just no reason for them to rock the boat right now.
No.
You have some questions about Bill Self's long-term viability as a basketball coach, health-wise. He always seems to be right on the line, rule-wise. I think Kansas, who spent a lot of money on facilities, remember, I think Kansas wants some glass, calm water. They want smooth sailing for the next 2 years.
Yeah.
Would be how I would put it. And I think it's hyperbole. Nobody of note is reporting that Kansas is going to the SEC. Nobody. So be that as it may. What I would tell you is this Gonzaga story has real legs now, because finally we're not the only ones reporting it.
Mm-hmm.
And you can go back on the channel. I know that everybody, no shit, Monty. Okay, go back on the channel. What is that? 12, 16, 18 months ago?
All you got to do is search it on the channel, man.
It's been here forever. And people found it over the weekend. I saw all the comments in our Gonzaga videos. People found them. Knock yourself out. I think it is what it is.
Yeah.
So let's get to the comments section. Good morning to you. Again, thank you, everybody that is here. Without you guys, we could not do this show every day. So I really appreciate that. I appreciate the fact that all of you are sending me your prize picks now, which I love. I would just like to thank Rory McIlroy for those 2 eagles on the par 5s yesterday to make Jaboy a $56 winner yesterday on prize picks. Back on the heater now. 3 in a row. Back on the heater. And I can only tell you, as I open up my Prize Picks app, download the Prize Picks app, use the promo code Monty to get 100% deposit matching, prizepicks.com. I never thought these next words would come out of my mouth. Thank you, Luka Doncic.
Hey, Luka.
Because my Saturday Prize Picks were very much up in the air. And Luka Doncic on Saturday had 15 rebounds. 15 rebounds and 8 dimes. 5 dimes.
Yeah.
So when you put up 42, and I just think that it is so rewarding deep into my bosoms.
Stay hard.
That I can't even accurately tell you in an oratorial fashion. I don't know. It felt really good that he was 41.5 and I took more and he got 42. I just would like people to.
I'd be excited.
Yeah.
I
would like people. Now, then there is Josh Giddey, who still is rocking the under 15 vibe. He had 9 points. Thank you for that. My guy
Doesn't
Chet.
make you feel responsible.
My guy Chet let me down on Saturday night. I needed 24.5. So I needed him to have 25. And he had 24. Prick.
Do you even live?
But I will tell you, Rory yesterday was amazing. Is Rory McIlroy the most popular golfer in the world right now?
No.
I think it's close.
I'd say it's Scotty. I think Scotty's probably the most popular in the world right now, even still.
I don't know. I think Scotty Scheffler is the best golfer in the world. But fan sentiment wise, I have a hard time thinking there. Do you know how many people, do you realize that Rory McIlroy's won 2 straight starts heading to a major at Valhalla? And do you understand the last time he did that, he won his last major? Like, do you Rory McIlroy is in a spot where he is going to absolutely crush these nuts if he does not win a major next weekend.
Listen to me. Babygate is why Scotty Scheffler is so popular.
I thought you said Babygate.
Yeah, Babygate. Hey, is he going to pull out of the Masters?
Okay.
So that he can go and see the birth of his child.
For one day, can we not be whipping out the pullout?
I didn't do that.
PGA Championship at Valhalla in Louisville this weekend.
Yeah.
Super stoked for that.
Yeah.
Prize Picks is a monster with golf. So we are back up. We are back over the $400 mark.
I mean, it is the matchup we deserve as golf fans. A red hot Rory McIlroy versus Scotty Scheffler.
All I can say is that we are back above $400 in Prize Picks. I would also remind you that Caitlin Clark makes her WNBA debut tonight.
Yeah.
She is half a point.
Yep.
She just needs one bucket and you cash on Caitlin Clark.
Yeah. So this is how you got to do Prize Picks. So last week they rolled out the half a point Caitlin Clark discount.
Yes.
So what I did was I said, okay, I'm going to try and go 3 for 3 on a flex play. And of course, Jalen Brunson let me down, but I did have Kyle Bradish, a pitcher for the Orioles, who got it done for me. So now tonight, Caitlin Clark's going to score 1 point and we're going to win. And that's how you do it.
We'll see. Check that tomorrow night. I said Indiana plays tonight. It's tomorrow night.
Yeah, tomorrow night.
My bad.
Thank you.
Let me read you a DM.
Oh, God.
Do I out the guy who sent me this DM?
Read the DM first, then let's decide if you out him. Monty?
Hey, asshole.
Dude.
You can't even get the WNBA right.
Oh, my God, bro.
This guy's name is Carter Shipley. Hey, asshole. You can't even get the WNBA right. Why do I care what you think about the Big 12? Oh, thank you. Thank you, Carter. Appreciate you, bud.
Dude, it's Rudy Gobert, right?
It's
Rudy
Gobert. It is Gobert, well, please.
And it's he's talking about Rome Odunze, not Jim Rome.
Yeah. Bro,
I
got a lot of that.
Dude.
I got a lot of that.
Come on.
Let me go ahead and fix the ticker.
Let me get this right. You start your DM with "Hey, asshole"
over a line on the ticker.
So tell me without telling me you watch the show very intently.
Which I appreciate.
Yeah.
I appreciate. People are losing their mind. Giggity. What a way to start a DM.
Come on, dude.
But again, this is why 9 out of 10 times I'm down to reading my Twitter DMs once a week, maybe once every 10 days, because it's such a cesspool. But anytime somebody starts a DM with, hey, asshole, I have to laugh at it. Right. I just think it's amazing. Download the Prize Picks app. Use the promo code Monty, MONTY, to get 100% deposit matching. Let's see. OG Gary. It's okay, Dakota. Kansas is going to join the SEC just to mess with you. Yeah, at some point, I think, I can't imagine a spot without change. And who knows? I've never been wrong before, so maybe it'll happen. But I can't.
Today would be shitty.
I can't imagine a time where Kansas just up and joins the SEC, especially considering, and this is what other people don't take into account, they just signed a grant of rights in the Big 12. It hasn't even taken effect yet.
Yeah.
And they're gonna leave. Do some math on that. Oh, they're just gonna leave. Brand new grant of rights. Yeah, they're just gonna leave.
Back to the envelope calculations.
Look at what's going on in the ACC. Why is Florida State and Clemson now? And why are they suing the ACC? Oh, that's right. They have a solid grant of rights. Where did they get that grant of rights? Oh, that's right. It's a mirror of the Big 12s. Kansas is leaving for there's just so many reasons that makes no sense. They just signed a grant of rights.
Yeah.
They just signed a grant of rights. So is what it is. Caps Lock Friday Coug. Mark Few has said years ago that the program was too good to play Washington State. They're leaving because they are too good for the WCC. I don't think that's the case. I think, and I understand you're a Washington State fan, so you don't have to like the truth. You're in for a world of hurt over the next 3 years because you're going through a complete change in athletic personnel. And I one of the things about Washington State fan that I struggle with is Kirk Schultz was not a good sports administrator. He overspent. He did it without oversight, and it came back to bite him in the ass.
Mm-hmm.
You defended him. Now he announces his retirement next year, and you guys are all over him as, just some guy that blows. And you can't have it both ways. It was smart to have Oregon State and Washington State essentially become full-fledged members of the WCC.
Yeah.
It was very smart. It has zero impact on what Gonzaga is doing. Zero.
Yeah.
There is one reason Gonzaga will join the Big 12, to raise their profile, both on the floor and in their bank account. And until such a time where they feel the heat under their feet enough to start moving, that's not going to change. They're not going to leave the WCC until they feel it is the optimum situation. And I think the people we talk to in that situation continue to say Gonzaga wants to move all of their sports. They're not just going to do basketball.
Well, why would you want to split it? This doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Again, we're not having a conversation about Gonzaga needing to go to the Big 12. It's a want. So if it's not a need but a want, you're also going to want to do it in a really clean-cut fashion. You're going to want it to be all sports, as full a share member as you can be. It makes perfect sense as to why they wouldn't want to just be basketball only. That is logical.
Totally agree. Stephen Smith, I really hope that Gonzaga goes to the Big 12. I believe that is the only way the Big 12 to survive in an ever-changing landscape in college athletics. I think that for the Big 12 to survive but also thrive, I think there's a lot of pressure on their Texas brands. I think there's a lot of pressure on Okie State. Oklahoma State's got to win.
Yeah.
And again, I think this is the problem with Oklahoma State fan. You don't want the pressure. You want to be just good enough. And Oklahoma State fan has again, whether it's Bedlam or Mike Gundy, there's no way to argue that Mike Gundy has not won enough. There's no way to argue that. And you can be pissed that people favor Utah to win the Big 12 championship this year. But what does that say about Oklahoma State?
Mm-hmm.
I think the Big 12 needs Oklahoma State desperately to become a perennial every year national championship contender. The Big 12 needs that.
Yes.
The Big 12 needs Kansas to be a blue blood in basketball. The Big 12 needs Texas Tech, Houston, Baylor. If you're a Big 12 fan, you better be disappointed that Dave Aranda didn't get whacked at Baylor. Because what has he shown you by scapegoating his assistants? They're not going to improve.
No.
They're not. And I look around, if you look around this state, you look around at what's happening in the state of Texas, Baylor is an integral part of the life and death of the Big 12.
Yeah.
They need Baylor football. Baylor basketball is a brand. You need Baylor football. You need Texas Tech football. Got to step up now. TCU, you need TCU football. It's not optional. It's the same thing I say about our friends in Manhattan. My dudes, you need to win on the football field at all costs.
Yeah.
Because that's the road to prosperity. I don't know the right way to say it. Runs across the 50-yard line? I don't know.
Yeah, the road to prosperity, runs through
football.
Football and really making pragmatic decisions. And that's why I say, I don't understand Baylor. I don't. And I try to be fair, right? Like I try to say in a lot of different situations, like, hey, you know what? Like maybe like with Joey at Texas Tech, if Joey has another 3-win season, 4-win season, like substandard season, he shouldn't be back. Right. And I feel like that's widely agreed upon. Everyone's kind of on the same page.
Maybe.
But if they were to retain him the way Baylor retained Dave, then I got to be like, hey, like, I don't understand what you're trying to do then. If you're not trying to have the highest level of accountability for your football coach and say, hey, like we're not trying to be mean to you, but the bar is the bar. Like, we can't have 3-4 win seasons anymore. Like, we can't go to YO and make those kind of mistakes. We can't have, Utah beat you at home without a quarterback or some semblance of an offense. Yet here we are, Dave. Here we are, Joey. Hey, Dabo might want to figure it out a little bit, right? Can't have another mediocre season. Can't have another season where you're outside the college football playoff looking in. And the Seminoles are right there. That doesn't work. That simply doesn't work if we're going to have success in the ACC. So that's why I say, like, we can sit here and gaslight Kansas to the SEC, but I'm telling you, that's not the conversation right now. The conversation is, hey, what schools are thriving off of their football department? Because again, what's the common denominator? Successful schools have big-time football programs that are competitive every single year in the college football playoff.
Correct.
And the bottom feeders are not even in the conversation. And that's the biggest difference. So with Gonzaga, they're in a unique spot. They obviously don't play football. But what do they have? Every year, they're in the tournament. Every single year.
Yeah,
and they're making that money.
To Masta. Hello. Kansas to the SEC. Okay.
Good talk.
Based on what? Jeremiah Champion, good morning. Today is my birthday, 32, and I'm happy I get to start it off listening to you guys, driving to work in a couple of minutes. And please never do that face again, Monty. I'll never do that face again. My apologies.
Happy birthday, bro.
Gross to Masters. Sir Bob Lob's Law, when does Gaga start a football program? Never, ever. James, Oak State James, I want to see Oregon and Wazoo join the Big 12.
Not happening.
Oregon State and Wazoo join the Big 12. Yeah, again, there would have to be a significant shift for that to happen. ACC has to melt down. Something would have to happen to push that, because I just don't see a place where the Big 12's that excited to get to 20 football teams.
Yeah.
I don't see that happening. Dakota Tubbs, hello. The pro rata Gonzaga deserves. Is Gonzaga an AI bot school? Could be. Could be. Caps Lock says, Mark Few has said years ago that the program was too good to play Washington State. I read that one, my bad. Oh, God. There you go, Tumasta says. Kansas to the SEC is conjecture, but Gonzaga definitely has Big 12 invitation right now, circa 2023, isn't? Guy, that's been confirmed now.
Yeah, what do you mean?
What do you mean? Hello? So you think that Kansas to the SEC is the same thing as Gonzaga to the Big 12? When everybody said we were idiots and you don't know what you're talking about and Gonzaga doesn't have an invite. And now national media is writing those stories that Gonzaga has an invite. And Gonzaga is going to the Big 12. But that's the same. Where's the national media member saying that Kansas is going to the SEC and that Kansas has been invited to the SEC and that move is imminent? Nobody, because it isn't. And they haven't been. There's a big difference between fact and opinion. And how many, and I think this is why I think podcast is a dirty, awful, terrible word. You look at these people who do, well, here's a breaking news story in my 30-minute podcast. And they present their opinion as fact. Oh, the Pac-12 is getting that $600 million pro rata, bro. How did that work out? How'd that work out? Utah's never leaving the Pac-12. How'd that work out? All these little bros with their little podcasts. You actually have to do the legwork and talk to people involved in the situation. How do you think we found out Washington State? How do you think we found out about the spending freeze? When we told you on this show, hey, the staff at Washington State is livid. They're quite literally banging on the door at Kirk Schultz's office. They want accountability for the athletic budget.
Yeah.
12 hours later, what happened? Kirk Schultz released a statement. There's a complete and total spending freeze and an audit of our budgets. Yeah, but that's opinion.
So let's review. You come in with this nonsense right here.
What are we doing?
And with your bad attitude, and then you're surprised when you get called out for it. Come on.
It's crazy.
Come on, guy.
It's crazy to me. Eric and Raleigh, Kansas is a better fit in the Big 32, the Big 10 32. Well, but
again, it would take something like that for Kansas to move. Kansas is not just going to get on their little bus and drive to SEC country, dude. And that's what I think, the two masters of the world and all these people who just roll on conjecture want to say. I'm telling you right now, man, Kansas football is not good enough to play in the SEC. That's not an opinion. That's a fact. Put Kansas football up against 70% of the SEC. They're not even in the same league, dude. They're not. There's a reason that they weren't able to get to the Big 12 championship game. There's a reason that they were not able to handle their business last season in the Big 12. And again, I feel like a jerk ripping Kansas football because they're a solid program. They are well into the power conferences. Obviously, they're a brand that would be included in a Super League situation, 100%. But that does not mean that they're going to go and play in the SEC. And what I'd love to understand is, where does this stuff even come from? Like, did you just wake up last Friday and be like, yeah, well, Kansas to the SEC sounds like a real good talking point? Like, what do you mean? Like, there's no reason or traction for that. None. Like, what is the why? What's the why?
I don't know, because I can't find anybody to even get near it. I cannot find one single person that we talk to. And we talk to some really highly placed sources. Again, I point you to the biggest stories over the last 18 months. We've been first on most of them and right on all of them. And I just ask you again, I can't find a single person to tell, yeah, Kansas, that's happening. Nobody. So you want to make that the same thing? That's up to you. Stepanek, the haters always are your biggest fans. They listen every day.
No doubt.
Every day. Let's see. Some guy the Bears drafted. Yeah. Jim Romadunze. Did anybody see free Harbaugh and minicamp this weekend?
Bro,
we'll talk about that.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that. Draft experts disagree with you. Okay.
No, that was a troll. You remember that reference?
Yes, I do. Jim Romadunze.
Yeah.
Hey, Carter Shipley, I hope you stub your toe on the door frame today. Who's Carter Shipley?
I don't know who Carter Shipley is.
I don't know what I missed there. Sorry. If I missed that, I apologize. If the Big Ten didn't want KU, why would the SEC want KU? Completely different circumstances. I don't know that the SEC wants Kansas. I don't think it makes a lot of sense here today. And again, the ACC melts down. Okay, let's have a conversation about consolidation. Because I think if the ACC melts down, there's a real reason to believe that you would need 3 conferences, right? And then I don't necessarily know that the ACC disappears if Florida State and Clemson, and then that would be North Carolina and Duke as well, Miami probably, leaving that conference. I don't necessarily know that means the conference is dead. I don't know how you survive at that point, but stranger things have happened. I think you have to wait and see how that all plays out. Oak State James, if the Big Ten was smart, they would get Utah and KU in 2031. Gives UCLA, USC, Oregon, and Washington a shorter road trip, then do East-West divisions. So you know that's 7 years away, right? So if they were smart, they'd wait 7 years. It seems like a long time.
Yeah.
we're going to be living on a different planet in 7 years when it comes to college athletics.
Right.
I don't know that you can with an educated opinion speak about anything other than what's happening on paper in 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
And really, I think your fiscal year to fiscal year. Because again, remember that the Big 12 grant of rights hasn't even started yet. And KU's already out, supposedly, allegedly, according to Jimmy in his podcast. I don't even know who started that rumor.
That's what I'm trying to understand. Where did this even come from?
Yeah. I don't know.
Like,
we'll see. We'll see. I don't know. Two Masters says, Steve, the SEC wants UNC. Adding KU would make sense if basketball became more valuable in a few years.
Okay, so now, see, this is what I'm talking about. So let me get this right. Let's review. So first, you want to question us. You want to mock us and question us. And your take is that it might make sense for Kansas to join the SEC if the SEC were to add UNC and basketball were to become more valuable in the SEC than football, which is never on God's green earth going to happen.
But you haven't applied the Pythagorean theory yet. So settle down. What are you talking about?
Do I need to get my protractor out to do math or something? Like, what are you going on about here?
Do you know how much of a leap that is? So wait, we didn't know we're like the Big 12 and Gonzaga. So UNC is under a grant of rights, has not officially shown any willingness to try and break that grant of rights.
And why would they go to the SEC when they can go to the Big 10 and dominate? And
again, because your opinion is being stated as fact, what is UNC? Why are they so attracted to the Big 10? And I know everybody, please do not piss yourself or drive off the road because academics matter in North Carolina at UNC.
Whoa.
And part of the attractiveness of UNC to the Big 10 is universities like, I don't know, Northwestern. They find themselves, and this is directly from the horse's mouth, they find themselves very well aligned with the philosophy and the tactics of the Big 10. And why UNC? There would have to be, again, a seismic shift where the Big 10 was not an option for UNC to end up in the SEC. And UNC and Duke, I do believe, are a package deal. And I still maintain, as crazy, and again, you guys told me I'm an idiot, as crazy as it can be, Duke and the Big 12 have had extensive conversations about Duke joining the Big 12. Does that mean that Duke's willing or wanting? No. But Duke and the Big 12 have talked. I can tell you flatly that Duke entertained the conversations. That's not even in question anymore.
Because again, what's and I'm just going to keep pointing this out over and over and over again. What is everyone doing? They're trying to hedge their bet. They're trying to hedge their position. They're trying to say, hey, like Duke is an example. Hey, well, if the conference does melt down, because nobody knows if it will or not, maybe it won't, who knows? But if it does, we want to know what our options are. So, hey, Brett, what would it look like in your eyes if we, were to join your conference? What would be the financials? How would that take place? What would, basically just having extensive and thorough conversations about what that would look like. And again, it's this thing where we want to take a leap from talks to their joining. And I feel like that's what's happening here is you want to come in here and call us out. And then it's like, oh, well, Kansas would only join if another school joined and basketball became more valuable than football, which is never going to happen again in the SEC specifically. And we just want to take all these leaps and stretch the truth. And the reality is that I don't know why, like, if we are still in a traditional conference setup when the ACC either ends its grant of rights, like it expires, or it melts down, whatever ends up happening, If we're still in a traditional conference setup, which I find hard to believe, UNC would not go to the SEC. They would go to the Big Ten, and Duke would go with them. And the Seminoles and Clemson and Miami would go to the SEC.
Yep. And I also think one of the more interesting parts here is that, again, everybody tends to forget that grant of rights are in place. None of this happens without ESPN.
Yeah.
None of it happens. And really, if we're talking about basketball, none of it happens without Fox, because Fox owns a big chunk of college basketball. And I just go back to what Gloria Navarez, the commissioner of the Mountain West, told us on this show. What we have reported about Brett Yormark and Greg Sankey and Tony Petitti. They all talk on a regular basis, and they all talk with their TV. I can tell you that ESPN and Fox have regular, weekly, every other week conversations on their calendars.
Yeah.
That the commissioners, Brett Yormark and Greg Sankey, actually have a good relationship. They're not adversarial. They talk. Obviously, Tony Petitti and Greg Sankey have a very good relationship. They're in business together.
Yeah.
Like, all of these guys, I think people believe that this is all segmented. Nothing happens. When we talk about Gonzaga to the Big 12, as we told you, Fox and ESPN are willing to pay the freight for that. When you talk about KU to the SEC, who's going to have to approve that? Well, it's going to have to be ESPN, because ESPN owns the rights to both.
And do you know how often Kansas basketball is on ESPN? Like, a lot.
Like, you just have to. I think there's a lot of people that don't understand what the formula is for this stuff to happen. And I wish more people did. I truly do. I wish more people had the understanding that none of this stuff happens with the chancellor or the athletic director at Kansas simply talking to Greg Sankey. All right, cool, we're coming. You understand that's not how this works. It's not Greg Sankey calls Kansas and Kansas says yes and then drops down and fillets Greg Sankey. You understand that's not what this is about. This is a conversation that involves probably half a dozen entities: the NCAA, the Big 12, the SEC, TV partners. Like, do you really think that Brett Yormark and Greg Sankey aren't? Let's pretend that Kansas is joining the SEC. They're not.
Mm-hmm.
But let's pretend they are. Do you think that Greg Sankey isn't talking to Brett Yormark about that? You think that's not happening? Do you really think that KU isn't talking to Brett Yormark about that? Do you think that KU, in this current climate, you think they're going to act the way that SC and UCLA acted in the Pac-12? That's not happening. That's not happening. I wish people had an idea of how these things work. Because when you come out there and you take your opinion and report it as fact, and clearly whoever did, and again, I'm not crushing anybody individually because I don't even know who started this BS, but you're telling us that you don't know the inner workings of college athletics.
100%.
That's what you're telling us. Because to think that Kansas and Greg Sankey are talking and that's how this deal is going to get done is completely ridiculous.
Yeah.
You're not.
See, and then this is what we do. Yeah. This is what we do right here with two masks to being like
Kansas to the big sky, bro.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Oh yeah. Monty, UConn full show.
Oh, it's all good. Yeah.
Now it's all good.
Now it's all good.
Now
it's all good.
After you've questioned our sourcing and what we've said and you got your ass called out, now it's all good.
It's all good.
Okay.
Damian Fowler, it's all about clickbait. I don't know who did, so I'm not even going there. OG Gary, hello. Well, OG, your Gonzaga Bulldogs are on the move sooner or later, and your Kansas Jayhawks are supposedly headed to the SEC.
A lot of change happening for you right now, bro. Are you okay?
It's got to be tough.
Yeah, can someone do a wellness check on Gary? I just want to make sure he's okay.
It's going to take a Super League for Kansas to be either in the Big Ten or the SEC. I think it's going to take.
But again, see, and this is kind of my point, Gary.
Man,
if a Super League happens, do we even have the Big Ten and the SEC anymore? This is my
Not
point.
in football, but the conferences don't go away if a Super League happens.
But here's the thing with that though. Like that's the setup we're talking about now. But I'm telling you, everything's fluid in college athletics. So the setup we know now could very well be what we get. I mean, I'm not saying that that's wrong. I
think we could have an upper tier and a lower tier of college athletics. I think we have that now. But if you're in the Super League, your stick and ball sports are better off for it. Your swim team's better off for it. Your track and field team's better off for it. What's a secondary sport? Your lacrosse team is better off for it.
Look at Gonzaga and Gonzaga's commitment to not going to the Big 12 unless it's all sports.
Yeah.
How does that impact the Super League situation? If you're like, it seems pretty straightforward. And I'm not trying to cause problems with it, but I'm just telling you, when a bunch of dudes and a bunch of leadership gets in a room and starts talking about a Super League, people are going to be selfish and they're going to want to make as much money as possible.
I don't think there's any doubt, but what does Gonzaga offer to the Big 12? Well, less revenue sharing because you don't play football. You're going to take a significantly less amount of money. And I think their basketball program, obviously, you're getting tournament shares. You're getting another team ranked. And let's say there's an expanded college NCAA tournament, which I continue to tell you is happening.
Yeah.
We've heard that from everybody. They offer you more tournament shares. They offer you a deeper recruiting class in basketball. They offer you a larger national spotlight because, again, Mark Few plays on battleships, right? Like you look at the way that Gonzaga does business. Gonzaga also cements this idea that you are going to be able to have a basketball unit separate from a football unit, that you don't have to have everybody playing football to thrive because you have a thriving basketball business.
Right.
So I think I do think that Gonzaga offers that. So we'll see. I don't necessarily believe that we know all of the variables here. I think there's a long way to go here. A long way to go here.
Yeah.
In my opinion. Steve Stepanek. KY needs to fix the basketball program. They stepped down last year. I think, and I don't want to piss off Kansas fans who always seem to show up every time I say this about Bill Self. I think there's a lot of questions about his long-term viability as the head coach of Kansas.
Show up.
I don't think there is anybody who believes, that his health is going to hold out. He's had significant health issues.
Yeah.
And again, I think he toes that line. He's very Jim Harbaugh when it comes to rules.
Mm-hmm.
And as long as you're on the right side, and he's not always been on the right side of the NCAA Enforcement Infractions Committee.
Well, and I think when you're Kansas basketball, you're on the basketball floor, you're clearly one of those schools that has the highest of expectations. I mean, competing for national championships is the expectation at Kansas. So, if you're, again, so I said about Jim, I think it's a great comparison about you. If you're going to break the rules and you're going to do dirty things to try to get results, you damn well better get that result. And that's just what it is.
Yeah. Let's see. Peter Grathhoff at the KC Star put this story out. The Star is essentially a KU propaganda source.
Well, and we saw this again, not to go back down the Michigan rabbit hole, but we saw this a ton with Michigan, right? We saw with Ohio State too, frankly. We saw a ton of stuff out of Ohio State propaganda boards where, people were like, oh, it's being reported. And then it never happened that Ryan Day had a private investigation firm looking into Jim and you know what I mean? Like,
story.
They
hack computers,
yeah,
bro.
Like
they're not looking at Matt Weiss as the criminal. He's the victim.
Like, come on, man. And that's why I say, like, it's this whole thing where you have to be, cognizant of the time of year we're in too. And I think that I hate to say this about people, but just because we do the show, I know the struggle. Like, there's not a lot happening right now in college athletics. Like, it's the slow season. So I'm not
especially
saying,
football.
I'm not saying that a writer or a KU propaganda outlet in the middle of summer, in the off season when nothing's happening, would make something up. But hey, maybe it's an opinion piece, and I'm fine. And by the way, and I haven't seen the piece, so I can't really speculate on it. But if the piece says this is an opinion piece and people are still taking it as fact, that's on you guys. But if it is truly being reported, then I have a problem with that.
Yeah, I think it's very difficult. It's very difficult. Let's see. James. Okay, take my theory and mash it with two masters. Oh, boy. Big Ten adds KU and North Carolina. Why? Why? What? Okay. To boost their basketball presence, that would be a good move. Yeah, and marrying a 6-foot blonde with huge tits would be a great move too. But what are you talking about? Stick to Buc-ee's and truck stops. KU and North.
What did you say to me over the weekend? I think you while we were golfing, didn't you?
That was a terrible putt.
Okay, you did say that, but that's not what I was referencing. That's different. That's a different conversation. Anyway, so didn't you made a Buc-ee's reference over the weekend that
I did make a Buc-ee's reference.
I can't remember what you said,
what I said.
But my guy over here, James, you've been talking so much about Buc-ee's on the show that my guy over here is talking about it on the weekends.
True. Ryan Smith's receding hairline. Duke is Duke.
Duke is Duke, baby.
Duke is Duke.
Yeah.
Replica. The KU SEC story came from Greg Fluguar from College Football. He didn't say KU SEC is imminent. He said KU is a possibility if they. My mom's a possibility if the SEC goes to 20. That's what I'm talking about. What the fuck up, listen. Let me just throw this out here, okay? Listen.
Yeah, no, I'm not.
If the Big Ten goes to 741 universities, there's a chance that Jimmy's Diesel Mechanic Institution gets in, but only as a women's field hockey participant. Okay. Now, if they go to 814 universities, there's a chance that OVO University
It's Division I football.
So wait, let me get this right.
Exactly my point.
Let me get this right. So the first outlet was the KU Star. That's a propaganda piece.
And now Greg, I don't know how to pronounce that last name, but who I'm assuming has a
channel,
a peek around the corner. Okay.
Cool.
I don't neat. If the SEC goes to 20, bro.
No, okay. I just want to point this out. And it's no shade to this buddy or the KU Star, whatever. People, okay, it's like
people will die.
Yeah, people will look like jackasses. Okay. Listen, anytime someone says two things, it's a done deal, never a done deal. Okay. Anytime you hear it's a done deal, it's never a done deal. Okay. That's number one. Number two, anytime a conversation is prefaced with, if this happens, then it's not facts. It's just an opinion. It's speculation. Again, and this to me, if Buddy's a YouTuber or whatever, I don't know, honestly, but it's the slow season. People are going to say things. So when I'm getting publicly tagged on Twitter or added at Twitter, when people are like, hey, well, is there any truth to Kansas and the SEC? I'm like, guy, what the hell does this have to do with anything, bro? Yeah. Thank you.
It's all speculation.
Thank you, Mike Spear. Thank you.
It's all speculation. Clickbait is used by most of the shows. It's not clickbait. Stop saying, I love the fake news. It's not clickbait.
Look at the second part of his comment, though. That's funny, though.
Hell, this show probably admits to clickbaiting titles, bro. And again, and I never flex on people. I don't. I would never flex on anybody. I would never flex on anybody ever. Like never would I ever.
Even if there was a fire.
Even if there was a fire, I would never flex on a motherfucker, right? But if you look at and I don't know Mr. the Flagwar or whatever, Frogwa, whatever his name is. I don't know how many subscribers he's got. Yeah. We didn't get to 100,000 subscribers. Well, they're all clickbait. The goal on YouTube is, hey, look at that thumbnail, look at that title, let me go watch that show. You want to call that clickbait? Great. The difference is, if you're all clickbait, I would tell you the title and the thumbnail don't match your content.
Yeah.
Go watch our shows over the history of man. The title and the thumbnail match exactly what we're talking about.
Yep.
So if you want to call that clickbait, great.
I call it doing business on
That's
YouTube.
called the process of YouTube.
Yeah.
As long as your content is on with what your title and your thumbnail are. But whatever.
So wait, did we clickbait today? Because I'm just trying to understand, like, we
baited something?
Yeah, are we baiting today, or what's the situation?
We baited something. Big Daddy Magic. Hey, playa, Jason Tatum went to Duke. Are you sure?
Dude, what an inventive take right there, dude. I mean, absolutely incredible. Dude.
I can't with all veracity back that up. Steve Stepanek, KU is a powerhouse in basketball now with the new teams that are added to the Big 12, like Houston, et cetera. Best basketball conference in college. Yeah,
but I think they got to execute in the tournament, bro.
And this is the interesting part about the ACC. The ACC is the best, in my opinion, is the best feeding ground currently for other programs to join the Big 12 in quality of basketball conference. If the ACC melts down, and let's say that Duke and Carolina leave the ACC,
right?
I think they're a package deal. If they end up in the Big 10, the Big 10's not the best conference. If they end up in the SEC is the best basketball conference in the country.
And the best football conference in the country.
And if they end up in the Big 12, the Big 12 is now by far solidified itself as the basketball brand in this country. My guess is that Duke and North Carolina will end up in the Big 10.
Yeah, it just makes too much sense. Why, you look at geography, I still think that matters to schools. Hey, what our conference affiliation should be relatively in alignment with where we are located. And I think that matters because, again, it's like the Calford conundrum, right? Like you look at the Calford situation and it's like, holy crap, like you guys are flying your ass off all year long. Like you're going to pay more costs. Like, and we can roll out this hub city garbage and like, oh, we're all going to meet in the middle. They're not going to meet in the middle, dude. The ACC schools are not meeting Calford in the middle on anything. And I look at Duke and UNC, and everyone, again, to what you said earlier, everyone wants to be like, oh, well, Duke and UNC are rivals and they compete. And it's like, dude, they may compete on the basketball floor, but when you're talking about business, everybody wants to win. Yeah. So if everybody wants to win,
I agree.
They'll put themselves as a package deal and they'll go to the Big Ten. Because again, I'm not saying that the Big Ten's a better conference than the SEC in basketball or football at this point. But what I am saying is for brands like Duke and UNC, the Big Ten's a better fit. It's more money. It's more opportunity. You're much more likely to get in the tournament every single year. Not that you aren't now, but I just think you want to continue to ensure that success. Like it makes more sense. But again, stepping back, we're probably 5 to 7 years from that even happening or being a possibility, unless something earth-shattering happens in the ACC. We're a while from that happening.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I think there's so much unknown that you can't. I don't know what's the right way to. And I'm not trying to be a jerk about it. There's just no basis to say that the SEC in Kansas is. I don't know. I doubt anybody said done deal, but I just can't be in a position where I take you seriously if you're like, okay, here's the roadmap. Like, there's no roadmap. There would have to be significant change. And that's where I'll leave it. Yeah. Mike Smith, J2H is still pissed he had to work last Friday.
Yeah, dude, I'm still tired, bro. Like, I had to work last Friday. Then we had to do a garage
We got
sale.
almost no sleep
then
this
we had
weekend.
to get an early tea time. It's like, damn, dude, I'm getting old over here, all right? Like, Jesus.
Well, I went to bed too late we golfed on Friday night.
Yeah.
Then we were watching a certain athletic endeavor competition and such as and like.
Right.
So we were up later.
Mm-hmm.
And then Saturday morning, I had to get up. I got up, I think, at 5:30 because we had this community yard sale thing, was worth it. I made a G selling a pile of crap. So let's go. Right? Worth it. Then Saturday afternoon, we went and played golf. And then Sunday, again, I got up later, though. We left here at 7 yesterday. Yeah. Wasatch Golf up in Midway, worth the price of admission. Really good. Really, really good.
Yeah.
Loved it.
Yeah.
Canyons Golf, Darren Ingram, you need to open. Just forget it.
Are we open yet, bro? Like, come on, bro.
I'll come up and shovel snow off the green.
Yeah, man.
I'm ready for Canyons to open. The driver is working. You know, I here's what I'm going to say. I'm never changing my iron swing again, ever. I am
not even if Kansas goes to the SEC.
Even if there's a fire in Lawrence.
You fucking donkey.
I am not changing my iron swing ever again. And right now, I got to be honest with you, man. I'm hitting driver really well.
Mm-hmm.
I'm 7 out of 10 swings of the driver. There was one hole yesterday where the driver may have betrayed me, and it was rectal.
2 holes.
But you're exactly right. But I think on 18 holes, and I think there are 15 driver swings, I would bet you 12 of those driver swings were pretty good. I hit my 5 or my 4-wood really well. Hit a really good 3-wood. Maybe hit 2 good iron shots all day. Like my iron sucks right now.
And it sucks.
Putting really well, but my iron game.
I just try to stand strong.
Stick your shaft back in the bag because it just ain't nothing.
You know.
Man, it is so frustrating. Hour number 2 of the Monty Show, presented by our friends at The Advocates, theadvocates.com. The best injury attorneys in the business. You guys, this Friday at their office in Murray, right here in Murray, Utah. Murray, Utah, you can drop off your broken down bikes, your scooters, bicycles, working or not. That bicycle has a bent front wheel. Who cares? Drop it off. You just want to get rid of that wheel, drop it off. Like we absolutely positively sold a bike this weekend at the yard sale. People need bikes. People want bikes. Talking to one of these guys that was thinking about buying an electric bike. And he was saying, I'm thinking about using it to commute to work because he lives close to where he works.
Yeah.
Like, bicycles are a huge part of the community for kids over the summer. Like, the Advocates are collecting bikes and bike parts. No questions asked, no matter what shape they're in. Drop them off at the Advocates in Murray, Utah this weekend. Tell them you heard about it on the Monty Show. A couple more comments because we have over 1,000 comments already today. You guys are amazing. Thank you. Mike Smith, Greg is a smaller channel. He has his sources. Okay.
Okay, cool.
Okay.
Yeah,
I'm
cool.
sure I don't know Greg. I don't know his
It's
channel.
not
I've
even
never
really
seen it.
about
It's not
Greg,
a personal
dude.
thing.
It ain't about him, bro.
Yeah. I'm
Yeah.
not,
Not that you're making it about him, Mike. I'm just saying, generally speaking, it ain't about him.
Mapes, hello. Good to see you. Mike Smith also says, I know my ass is tired today. Just feel wrecked, right?
Yeah, dude. You know what? You know what's tough, and again, this is first world problems. Totally get it. Don't hate. What's difficult is getting up obviously at 4:15 all week. And while you're used to it, it never seems to get easier. So getting up that early during the week, and then when you have things you need to do in addition to golf, that's when things get difficult. If you're just golfing, like you can find like a 10 a.m. tee time. Great. I'm going to sleep for 10 hours, get to the course at 9, and we're cooking.
I wake up at some of the most oddest times. I woke up at 3:30 today to visit nighttime pee guy.
God, that's the worst.
And then I was, my alarm goes off at 4:20 every day. I'm up at 4:02 every morning. I am awake at 4:02 Monday through Friday. So usually Friday night into Saturday morning is my time to sleep until 6. And the difference between 4 and 6 is
it's a big deal.
Enormous. I woke up at 4:02 today and was just like, damn, dude. And
That's right.
Usually what I do is I will get out of bed at 4:15. I'll read some stories, get out of bed at 4:15. Dude, I put my face in that shower today, and I did something I haven't done in a couple of weeks. I ended my shower with like a freezing cold shower today.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I have so much energy, because I was dragging ass. And you know, usually when you get up early and you get in the shower, like you get in that hot shower and it like revs you up. Not today, man. Like I was standing there with my, you put your hands against the wall and the water is just on your face. Not today, man. So at the end of my shower, I was like, dude, I'm just not feeling it. You turn that water down to as cold as you can. And I counted to 20 in my head. And I was wide awake, man. It makes it, I'm telling you, cold plunging. I know we've talked about it a lot on this show. Cold plunging's amazing. I'm telling you. Stepanik says, the Monty Show needs to have their own golf tournament.
I'm down.
I love it.
Anybody,
I love it.
You want to pay to have someone host that tournament though, or
Well, we our home course is Canyons up in Park City, and I don't think it's even close that in Park City it's the best course.
100%.
I don't even think it's a conversation.
Yeah.
I would love to do a tournament. You can like more than one channel without trying to tear others down. That's what I'm saying.
That's what I'm saying, dude. It ain't even about Greg. It ain't even about like any of these other channels. I'm just simply saying that I'm not here for, oh, hey, you guys are jackasses, or hey, asshole. I'm not here for that sentiment when we're not the ones making up stories about Kansas going to the SEC. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not, you know what I mean? Like, I just don't understand why it's like that. Because we're not even the ones that started this whole thing.
A homie sent me another DM, by the way.
Okay, now does he start the second DM with like, "Hey, Jagoff"?
No, but he says, "Oh, and what? Oh, it got filtered."
Of course, it got.
He
filtered.
Essentially said something to the effect of, "You guys bought subscribers."
Oh, now
I
we
love
bought
this comment.
Subscribers. Let's talk about it.
I don't think it's physically possible to buy subscribers.
Yeah,
but B, do you understand if you buy subscribers that that's hurting your channel, not helping your channel?
Yeah.
This is a great argument about this. People are like, oh, you bought subscribers. That hurts your channel. It doesn't help your channel, because those people don't watch. Those people our watch time is 26 minutes?
Yeah.
On average, each person who watches our live show watches for 26 minutes. When you buy subscribers, that doesn't happen. And when you buy subscribers, like the rage used to be, I want to say it was either Twitter or Snapchat.
It happened. It was a huge thing on Twitter, though.
Was it?
Yeah. Well, when
Maybe
people would buy, you could buy bot followers on Twitter.
And the problem with that is that you'll like see this huge spike, and then you'll see this huge fall.
Yeah, you'll remember like it literally used to be like somebody would be at like 20,000 followers or whatever, like good following. And then you would just wake up one day and they'd be at like 150,000. Like, not like a ramp up period, not like a slow trek. Like, that's what I always tell people. Like, if we bought followers, why did it take us 2 years to get to 100,000 subs? Like, if we're buying and cheating, and
aren't we like, you're paying for and it was almost 3 years, I guess. You're paying for almost 2.5 years to wait to get to 100. Like,
it doesn't add up.
I always love that. And I agree 100%. You don't have to hate channels because you like other channels.
Yeah, it doesn't need to be that way.
Yeah, to me anyway. Dude that abides says, wait, we got bought? Where the hell is my payment? Exactly.
Shut the fuck up, Donnie.
Exactly. RJC loaner phone. Meanwhile, it would be nice if they mocked Josh Pate for ACC pick comments. I don't know who Josh Pate is.
But we're not in the business of mocking people, bro.
And I'll be honest with you guys. We don't watch other channels.
Yeah.
It's just not. I don't think they do a bad job. But when you have the Pac-12 situation, if you didn't learn from the Pac-12 situation, I don't think you'll ever learn. There were so many people that just took their opinion and used it as fact and were completely wrong. I don't watch it. I've been bought, apparently not. See the membership link.
See what I mean? Right? Like, come on,
exactly.
dude.
Exactly.
See, I love this though, Brandon. This is an excellent point. oh, well, you bought all your followers and subscribers and stuff, Monty. Yet dudes over here for 16 months, does that say, choosing to spend to be a premium member, bro? Like, come on, man.
Does YouTube let you buy subscribers? No. And in fact, they do the opposite. Like your account, we're in kind of a different tier. When you produce live streams on a daily basis, you get a lot more attention from Google. Google owns YouTube. You get a lot more attention from Google. They have a whole army of humans on some other continent that audit your channel on a regular basis. And they straight up tell you they're doing it. Hey, can't do this, can't do that, can't, on a regular basis.
Yeah.
And one of the things that, much to Elon's dismay, that Google's much better at is bot filtering. Because the only thing you're buying, if you're buying subscribers to anything or followers to anything, you're buying fake accounts.
Because think about,
that's what you're doing.
And this is the point. This is the end all be all of the, hey, you bought bots or subscriber, hate. So why would YouTube or Google, through YouTube allow you to buy fake accounts when Google's main purpose for YouTube is showing the viewer ads?
Advertising.
That's how Google survives, man. Like literally. And that's why there's so many of you. And I know this has been a conversation in the past, but there's so many people in the comment section. Like, comment now. Do you have YouTube Premium? Because YouTube Premium it was rolled out specifically by Google because people were tired of seeing so many ads. So they said, hey, pay this amount. I think everyone says like $10, $12 a month or whatever it is. And you won't see ads anymore. That is specifically why Google did that. So Google is not going to allow a YouTube channel to go out and buy subscribers. And again, I just want to point this out. Do you really think that we get up at 4 a.m. every day for years now to buy subscribers? Like, I just, it doesn't add up, bro. Like, it doesn't make sense.
And when you have published as long as we have, as consistently as we have, and because you have to have a certain level of, you guys probably don't give a shit about this, but the behind the scenes thing is really all you're trying to do is get YouTube to tell people your video is good. Watch, it's called YouTube recommendations. Watch this video, it's good. Hey, you search for Big 12, or you search for Pac-12, or you search for Big 10 or SEC. Watch this video, it's good. They don't do that if you have bots, number one. Number two, we're in a tier where we get their premium ads. If you look at the ads that you see while you watch this show, look at the quality of the ad that you get.
Yeah.
You're seeing a lot more big brands on our channel. You're seeing a lot more, like, all of our ads are skippable. If you have a ton of bots, the ads that play on your channel are unskippable because the person who bought that ad, Apple, whoever, ESPN Bet currently is apparently, you guys tell me all the time, dude, gambling ads all over. Well, why do you think there's DraftKings or ESPN Bet spots? Well, because a lot of people watch our show.
Yeah.
And so ESPN is like, well, I need people to use ESPN Bet. Let me put this into a show. Google, put this into shows that have a lot of viewership and consistency. If you have bots, you don't have viewership and you don't have consistency.
Yeah.
Tell me you don't know shit about YouTube without telling me. Here's your monthly bot membership. Boston Mapes. I didn't sell out. I bought in. Well,
yeah.
Bot.
See?
Bot.
You guys are all just bots,
Pootie. Bot.
Yeah.
Right?
Where's Growcock's fake account? Come on.
Here's Jimmy Otson. I want my pro rata I deserve. Right? Big Blue Horses. I'm a bot.
There you go. See?
Dakota Tubbs. Premium is boss. Yes, it is.
Yeah, see what I mean? So, like,
Yes,
a lot
it
of people
is.
went the premium route because they didn't want to see the ads anymore.
Yep. Brandon Butler. Yep. Had to get rid of ads when I'm watching this show. Now it has been the best sub I have. There you go.
I appreciate that, bro.
Appreciate that. Even I have premium, Aaron Wilson says. My guy. It makes a huge, if you don't have YouTube Premium, you guys, it's totally worth it.
Big difference, bro.
100%. Did you guys see, if you don't follow a website called Cord Cutters, you're missing out. It's great TV news. that YouTube TV now is the preeminent, dominant streaming source.
Because it's easy, bro.
They are dominating. YouTube TV is dominating.
Yeah.
And what are they using to dominate? Sports. There was a new story out from Wired, I believe, talking about how the NFL Sunday Ticket was an overwhelming revenue success.
Mm-hmm.
And that the amount of revenue that YouTube TV generated from Sunday Ticket has made it so in 2026 they will be profitable.
Well, and there was a thing, I think it was Front Office Sports had it, that to watch every single game or to have access to every game for this NFL season was like $825 total, because you got to have YouTube TV, obviously. You got to have the ticket. You also have to have Amazon Prime. You have to have the cock. And so ultimately all of that adds up
Which
to
was
like
a playoff game.
Yeah. All
Peacock.
of that adds up to over $800. So when you start looking at YouTube TV, I could personally test this. I love YouTube TV because I know for a fact that no matter where I am, I can get the game. Like I could, like if we're road tripping,
But
if we're
what's the only sport that they are not competing for rights on? YouTube TV.
baseball.
Major League Baseball.
Yeah.
And why are they not even trying to get the rights? Because the viewership, the metrics on baseball are so low because that's why they're trying to shorten it.
Yeah.
At 2 hours and 45 minutes, it is low because nobody's watching for that long. The NFL and NBA have long arc viewership, which is why YouTube TV, Amazon Prime are both trying to compete for NBA content. And they have the NBA ticket on YouTube TV.
Yeah. League Pass.
Yeah, League Pass. Thank you. Mike Smith, YouTube Premium is worth it if you watch a lot of YouTube. Ad-free is so nice on YouTube. It really makes a difference. It really does. Sean McBride, Premium is money well spent. Yep, I agree. Mapes, I need to renegotiate my Monty Show grant of rights. It's rock solid.
Here's the
Mapes.
problem, Mapes. It's like 30 years of a grant of rights on the Monty program. So sorry, bud.
Sir Bob Lob says, I get 0 ads due to my browser. Nice. Eric and Raleigh, beep bop. Me. He's a bot too. Exactly. Deleric, the bot subscriber thing was a thing on YouTube 5-6 years ago when the algorithm was heavily based on subscribers. Correct. And now it's based on metrics, which I think that's when YouTube really took off.
But again, we weren't on YouTube 5-6 years ago.
No.
We've only been on YouTube 3 years.
No.
So like, again, like,
do you remember when we would have like 8 people watch an entire show?
Yeah.
The entire viewership was 8 people.
Yeah. I mean, I remember when the haters in Salt Lake were saying that, oh, well, they can't have more views than us. They've only got 9,000 subs. I remember that argument.
Yeah. Make sure you guys hit the like button right here on the Monty Show, presented by our good friends at the Advocates. I love seeing Ryan Reynolds every 5 minutes. Mint Mobile.
Mint.
Right. No YouTube TV, just YouTube Premium for me. YouTube TV is great, you guys. Sir Bob Lob, adopt the metric system. Exactly. You sold me on going premium, Loner Phone says. Okay. My grant of rights in the Monty Show members group is SMU level. Well played. I haven't seen any revenue distribution in 9 months and never will.
That's okay. That's some of your best work, dude.
Exactly.
Well
right.
done.
Someone buy me. I'll even take the hush money. Stormy Shooter.
Let's
you guys
go,
see
baby.
Michael Cohen's testifying today, I think.
Yeah.
That's going to be wild.
I mean, we're not getting into politics today, but I don't know what the path looks like to get out of this one. So, yeah.
If Michael Cohen is not an absolute disaster on the stand, Donnie's in trouble.
Yeah.
Because I think Stormy Daniels was a bit of a disaster on cross. But Michael Cohen's got the dead bodies, they think. But he's such a flippin' weird guy.
He's a weird dude, man.
I don't know if you can trust him, but it is what it is. Loner Phone, Tubbs hitting it out of the park. Exactly. Big Daddy Magic, hey, playa, baseball's overrated.
Okay.
I love baseball. It's why Kyle Hendricks should never pitch for the Cubs again. Real quick, let's get to some NBA because I know that Jake has a story today. You guys,
Fat.
we try not to get emotionally involved with our non-sports stories on the show, but today the non-sports story is something very deep in the heart of Jake's butthole. So I actually texted Jake a butthole reference last night. Here's an interesting question. What is going on with the Minnesota Timberwolves? The Denver Nuggets were dead. It was over. And now all of a sudden they went to Minneapolis and like, yeah, we like winning games more. It's more enjoyable, more funner.
Right.
Funner's not
right.
It's more enjoyable to win games. And all of a sudden they took back home court advantage. Does Denver win that series?
I think it's really difficult to say. I think this next game decides it. I think that
I'm still on the Minnesota side.
I have faith still. I think that I'm disappointed in Minnesota 100%. I would have been fine with a split at home. Totally disappointed in losing both at home. I think that I don't know, to be honest with you, what happened. I don't know if Minnesota got comfortable.
Yeah.
I don't know if Minnesota was like, oh, well, we're up 2-0. We beat them twice in their building. We're going to go home and split and ride off into the sunset in a 6-gamer. Is that what we were thinking? Because you just got your ass beat repeatedly in your own building. And now you need to go on the road and, win a ball game. And I think what's interesting is, the old saying is like, hey, the series doesn't start until the home team loses. Well, that's all we've had in this series. And so, the dynamic is going to be game 5 to me is the determining, because you're essentially just playing a 3-game series now, right? You got to win 2 more games. So do we get 7 games or do we get Denver winning, what would this be? 4 in a row to win the series? Like that to me is rough. If Denver beats you 4 times in a row, that's not Denver doing something special. That's you not making adjustments and you not adapting to what they're doing. And to me, this is one of those defining moments. This is exactly what Jason Tatum went through early in his playoff career. And it's like I said at the beginning of the series for Anthony Edwards, man. I'm a big Anthony Edwards guy. I believe in his talent. I think he's a hell of a player and the future face of the league. But
I think the biggest issue is he slowed down at home, and I don't understand it.
Yeah, he needs to wake up. He needs to come back, and I'm guessing that'll happen. I'm guessing, but I don't know, because if it was going to happen, why didn't it happen at home? If you're a true killer, if you're a cold-blooded savage, do you not look at this series being up 2-0 heading home saying, hey, if we're 3-1 with 3 games to go, we're winning this series? But now you're not. Now you're 2-2 on the wrong end of the momentum, and Denver's feeling good. That's what I don't understand about this situation.
Yeah, I don't know. I really do not know how you explain how different the Timberwolves have been since they went home. I'm not trying to be over the top. It's shocking.
Yeah.
How different they were. And I wish there was an easy way to describe it, but I really don't think there is. What is different to your eyes? What is different about that team?
I agree that they've slowed down. I think that they had a lot of success against Denver, getting out in transition, getting the rebound and pushing the pace. And I think that is something they're going to need to get back to on the road. But I also think that they have to solve the double on Anthony Edwards in pick and roll situations. Denver is committed to the guy getting screened and the helper both going to Ant when he's got the ball. And the question's going to be, how do you get from Anthony Edwards to whoever the roller is, whether that's Rudy or Cat? Because that's where all the turnovers are coming for Denver. They're getting a ton of traction in defending the pick and roll, because they're just pressing the ball handler and saying, hey, like, we're going to take away that role in the paint, and you're either going to have to keep it on the perimeter or whatever. So my point is Minnesota needs to get back to what they were doing against the Lakers, which was cutting backdoor, using the baseline, and essentially Anthony Edwards getting in the paint and just operating from there. Now, he needs to be cognizant of the balance. This was my complaint about Jokic early in this series.
But what do you mean cognizant of the balance?
He needs to get into the paint and understand, hey, what am I looking at? Do I have a bunch of guys right in front of me, or is it just the big right in front of me? If it's just the big, I need to go and score. But if there's 4 guys collapsing on me, I need to kick. And that's what the best players in the game do. And it's what I said about Jokic early in the series. Jokic early in the series had the ball at the elbow and was way too passive. What did he do? What was that, last night? Right? 35 and 14 or whatever it was. What did I say early in this series? Jokic has to be 35 and 10 for them to win. Hey, he's 35 and 14 in a blowout victory.
Aaron Gordon.
Knocking it down. Now,
that Jamal Murray half-court shot.
If you're a
all
Nugget
these
fan,
little things.
If you're a Nugget fan, though, the thing you need to be worried about, or not worried about, but just a little
cognizant
of, is, hey, if Aaron Gordon shoots 34%, 35% on a given night instead of 44%,
yeah,
we're having a different conversation. And if Jamal Murray's not making 3/4 court shots before the half or whatever it was, like, now we're having a different conversation.
But I also go back to this lineup with the Timberwolves. Rudy Gobert at 11 and 14 and just 1 block. Is that really productive for the Timberwolves? There's this balance where he's playing 35 minutes, right? But Ant's playing 45 minutes, and you're getting a guy like I don't know, Naz Reid gets 19 minutes, 11 points, 4 boards. Like, I think Naz Reid is incredibly important.
Yeah, needs more minutes.
He needs more minutes. But you look at Karl Anthony Towns, 38 minutes, 13 points, 12 boards, 3 dimes, and a steal. Is that more productive than Rudy's 11 and 14? Well, I think it is, because I think Rudy Gobert, if when they're winning, they are dominating in the pick and roll and pick and pop.
Yeah.
And Anthony Edwards playing 45 minutes and 44 points. Who's going to step up to fill that secondary scoring role? It's got to be Karl Anthony Towns. It's got to be you can't have a guy like Mike Conley being your second leading scorer. And I think Mike was their second leading scorer last night. 15 points with Mike Conley playing 34 minutes.
Yeah. Which is about the most he can play and stay healthy.
There's this odd little balance. You're going to get production out of Anthony Edwards. He's a stud. Who's going to be that second dominating player? Because for Denver, there's no question that it is Jamal Murray and Nikola Jokic. But if you get 27 points out of Aaron Gordon,
yeah.
Now what are you going to do? And you get 11 out of Braun, and you get 10 out of Holiday off the bench. Now you're in trouble. And you allow them to shoot 45% from 3.
But here's the good news if you're a Timberwolves fan. Look at how good this box score looks for the Nuggets. They won by 8 points.
Yeah.
You didn't win by 30. You won by 8.
Well, and I find it really interesting that Kentavious Caldwell-Pope's been limited to a defensive player. Now, he's a stud defensively.
Mm-hmm.
But even his number one guy went off. Anthony Edwards, and you're not guarding him one-on-one.
Right, yeah.
But what did the Nuggets commit to do in Minneapolis? Let Anthony Edwards get his and shut everybody else down as much as you can.
Yeah.
And I think that's why they won those games.
But I think that was your point about how to beat them.
Yes.
I think that what's difficult is, again, you've got, the Timberwolves are a great defensive team. Like, make no mistake about it. Even in that loss, I think they deserve a lot of credit for holding the Nuggets to 115 points. The issue is not the defensive end for the Timberwolves. The issue is the offensive end. You have to find a way to get more ball movement. And frankly, I don't know. We'll see what they come up with, right? I mean, obviously, Finch needs to come up with something. Like, there's got to be adjustments. There's got to be areas that they can improve on. But my suspicion is that Anthony Edwards is going to be asked to do more defensively, because in game 1 and game 2, when they were winning, he was causing chaos on defense. So,
and then there's the Knicks. And I just don't know. What do you do if you're the Knicks and you've got, like, the Bojan Bogdanovic loss I talked about last week or whenever? I think that's the biggest loss. It's a huge loss for them. But now you're without Mitchell Robinson. Now you're without OG Anunoby, and you've got an ailing Jalen Brunson. They're done. I don't. Does a return trip to the Garden fix these issues? Probably not. So you can't. I don't know that you can even rely on getting back home. You got your doors blown off yesterday. I mean, that was. I feel terrible for Knicks fans because you're in a position where you were feeling real. You were feeling yourself a little bit, and now everybody and their brother's hurt. And I just don't see now how to with all these injuries and Rick Brunson's kid being less than 80%, 70%.
Yeah.
No OG Anunoby, which they're a far better basketball team when OG plays. He's not going to play. I don't know what you do here. This is an absolute wreck for them. You're in a pivotal game 5 where I don't know. I don't know how you fix this. I truly do not.
Yeah, well, I think the only way to fix it is through executing offense just simply better. Like you have to play more as a team instead of the way you were playing because your talent's not on the floor. And I get it. That's a difficult ask. It's whatever you want to say.
And Indiana's not going to shoot that well from 3
No,
with a 45%. But
not.
I just don't don't see it, man. You lost by 30 points in a playoff game.
See, in this score right here,
121-89.
you would think that this was the Timberwolves Nuggets series with the way it went for the Nuggets in Minneapolis.
Yeah.
But I just everyone's ripping Thibodeau today for his rotations and how he used the lineup and the minutes load and everything. And all I'm here to say is, hey, you know what? Oftentimes in the playoffs, it's who can stay healthy. And that's part of the game. And I hate saying that, but it's true. Attrition is part of this game.
And now you're having to play Alec Burks and you're having to play, Jericho Sims. And you're just in a terrible spot. And you're getting everything you can get out of Jalen Brunson, but you can't have 2 points from Hart. You can't have 7 points from DiVincenzo.
Mm-hmm.
You would expect them to play better at home, but you can't have. I don't know. You just cannot have. You can't have this.
Yeah.
You've got to find a way to play better.
Those 3 guys have to be. You got to be 70, 80 points together. You got to be big time production.
And then there is this game tonight that I think is must win for OKC, and I don't know how they're going to win it. I am stunned. I am stunned that I think there's a chance that the Dallas Mavericks are better than the Oklahoma City Thunder. And I just don't understand it. I don't understand. Like, you look at the momentum that Luka Doncic has been able to build throughout this series after playing horrendous basketball early.
Mm-hmm.
And all of a sudden, he's 22, Kyrie's 22, PJ Washington is walking around with a boner at 27 points. At 27 points. Like, there are kids around. Cover that thing up. Like, what are we doing? 27 points. 70 points out of those 3 dudes.
I'm for real.
You're done. You're done.
Yeah.
You're done. And I don't think anybody is surprised to see Dallas out rebounding OKC. That's been OKC all year long. You've got to get more second chance opportunities if you're the Thunder.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how, but you got to get more second chance opportunities. And frankly, Chet Holmgren has got to play better basketball.
100%. Yeah. And Chet's got to get in the weight room. I think Chet's biggest thing right now is that he needs a little more explosiveness and he needs to get a little bit stronger because he can't quite move guys, I think, the way he would like to in the paint and on the block. And I think that jump shot just isn't far enough along where he can rely on it exclusively to compensate for the fact that he's not like a banger on the block.
I am amazed at how bad Josh Giddey's been in this series.
We've been saying it all year. The dude's been garbage all year. Like,
I'm sorry,
Garbo.
Thank you.
All year. I mean, first team under 15, like, not a contributor, off the court issues, obviously, like, just not.
This it is surprising. I think Jalen Williams has been pretty good. SGA has been fantastic. Chet Holmgren's been great and terrible
Lou Dort's been really good for them defensively.
but this is an offensive problem.
Yeah.
And if you're going to give up 70 points to Luka, Kyrie, and PJ, you're done. And this OKC team is built on the minutia, the details. And if you are not going to detail well, defense, limiting and creating second chance opportunities, running the floor, like, you're not going to beat Dallas. And the scary part is, I think Luka Doncic has still not found his jumper. And he again, 1 of 4, 7 of 17. That's not close to his best. But when you're getting 5 of 12 from 3 out of PJ Washington, and he's still scoring 27 points, and they shot 33% from 3, and you still lost, you're in trouble going back to Dallas.
Yes, you are.
You are in trouble going back to Dallas. And then I don't even want to talk about Donnie and the Cavs, who had all this momentum in the world. Donnie is doubtful now tonight with a calf injury.
Think that's HIPAA?
Wait, Donovan Mitchell's hurt in the playoffs with soft tissue leg injuries?
What?
Are you sure?
But I thought he just didn't want to play for the Jazz. I thought that was a personal thing.
Donovan Mitchell has a calf injury. He was clearly limping. I understand the media in Cleveland's trying to protect him. Totally get it.
Yeah.
He was clearly limping.
Yes.
In the fourth quarter the other night. Clearly. He put up and he put out.
Yep.
And I think that without him, you just write it off. Because I don't think they're beating Boston anyways. We've talked about this. I don't think they're beating Boston anyway, but good luck.
Yeah, I just think it would be a sad end to his time in Cleveland.
I would agree.
Especially with being
you're so sure.
Yeah, I think he's gone.
Donnie's gone, bro.
He's leaving, dude.
He's going to the Knicks.
100%.
Or the Heat.
I
don't know. I got to check the YouTube channels. I think he's probably going to the Lakers.
Let me, I need to.
It's a done deal. He's going to the Clippers.
I need to gaze over the bridge or look around this or, whatever we're doing at Donnie's future. And yeah, I think he's going to the Knicks or the Heat. Yeah.
Yeah. And then there's the Jazz.
So let's review.
Right. Are the Utah Jazz trying to win a championship?
No.
You don't think so?
Not right now. No.
Okay.
I don't.
So should we all be upset that they ended up 10th in the draft lottery? I said 10th.
Well, but Monty, they were trying to win every game.
What did you tell me they were in their last 30?
5-25 in their last 30 games this year. You went 5-25.
As Jazz fans, do your balls still ache from 5-25?
But wait, I thought the Jazz were hot and an up-and-coming team, and
I keep trying to tell people this. They have not done anything to make you believe that they are going to invest in talent. And the other thing that should bother you is Danny Ainge essentially telling you that your point guard of the future isn't a real point guard of the future, and that Keontae's, he basically said he's been disappointing. And he's not a number one. So again, I just ask
for a friend.
Asking for a friend.
Right, for a friend.
Who's the breakout draft pick that you've had in the last year and a half, 2 years?
Key.
No, it's Walker Kessler, who was relegated to the bench. Keontae George, who your general manager said is not a number one point guard. Taylor Hendricks? Like, where's the guy?
Dude, Bryce Sensabaugh, come on.
Where's the guy? And I just ask, in a draft that I don't think is truly that deep. I think that you look at the Jazz, and I think you have to ask yourself, what are they doing with cap space, money? They have every advantage that you could want. Multiple picks in the first round, tons of cap space, billionaire owner. So is this team trying to win a championship?
Doesn't feel like it, man. It really doesn't.
Why are they not accelerating their rebuild? Why are they not just hit the express button, and let's go win a championship. I don't know. Why have you not? Why like when are we getting a Lauri Markkanen extension? Big money extension. Where are we getting that? Right?
We're probably getting that in the the revitalization projects we're talking about.
Because I think if you look at this draft, I've seen a lot of Isaiah Collier. I've seen a lot of Ron Holland. I've seen a lot of Jazz tied to like Cody Williams. So I'm just asking. You tell me. What has this team done to make you think that they're all in on a championship besides interview with their website where they said we're all in on a championship?
Right.
Where is that?
Yeah, I mean, there's not much behavior that suggests it. Certainly, they haven't spent on talent. Going 5-25 to end the year, just to have the 10th pick is not ideal. And yeah, I mean, that's just kind of where things are at. I mean, I personally like Keontae George. I think that he's going to be a fantastic player in this league. But if you don't view him as your franchise point guard, then it's.
But then, how do you draft Ron Holland?
Yeah,
who is disappointing with the G League Ignite, but. Because this is a guy that everybody said was going to be the number one player picked in his draft class. And now the Jazz are supposedly looking at him and Isaiah Collier, the 20-year-old, essentially, from USC. So you're telling me that you're drafting point guard again.
For what?
I'm telling you that it's a huge miss. And it does not feel good. If you're a Jazz fan, it does not feel good because I think I'd rather have Cody Williams from Colorado. I'd rather go find me a dynamic wing guy that you can go battle with. Go find Danny Ainge is, I think, the right guy to do the job. Ryan Smith may not be the right guy right now to do the job to build the Jazz. I don't understand Danny Ainge questioning Keontae George because I think the kid's got nothing but upside. And I think we've seen flashes of what could be a superstar point guard. If he drafts a point guard, I'm going to hate it.
Yeah,
I'm going to hate everything
wasteful.
about it.
It seems wasteful. It seems pointless. It seems like a situation where you've already got a guy. And again, I'd love to know why Danny doesn't think that Keontae is that guy. Keontae's explosive. He can score, knows how to pass. Like he's pretty much what you want in a point guard.
Yeah, I don't know what you do here. Because I am not a believer in this draft. I don't believe that Rob Dillingham is somehow an amazing superstar. Like if I look at like Alex Sarr is probably the number one guy in this draft. I'd be shocked if Atlanta didn't take him. And I don't know that he is a surefire can't miss.
I don't know that there is a surefire can't miss in this draft.
I don't think there is. I think the best point guard is probably Dillingham from Kentucky. I mean, I mean his ball handling, him in the pick and roll.
Yeah.
Jesus. Like he's going to be great.
Yeah. And I think that, let's say you did draft him, so we just pick and roll in with Lauri then, or like, what's that's what
if you were able to get him. Oh my God. Okay.
But if you're the Jazz and you draft him, how does that affect what you're doing on your current roster? Because again, this thing with Walker Kessler is no small thing. If you're a Jazz fan, like this is a guy that was supposed to be like, your franchise big.
No. This is the guy that made the Rudy Gobert trade an incredible steal. And I think you had to trade Rudy Gobert. There was no doubt. But again, I'm not in this for you to draft another flipping point guard. Like the most likely available player maybe is Dalton Connect. Like perhaps.
Yeah.
And the guy is a shooting, scoring machine. He probably can't defend your mom, but that's why you need a shot blocker like, I don't know, Walker Kessler.
Yeah.
If you had a rim protector.
That's what I mean. Like when you ask me, hey, are they trying to win a championship right now? Are they like actively in like, hey, we're going to do everything we can do to win a champion. It just doesn't feel that way.
I don't think so.
It doesn't have the energy about it. It just like literally like when we run into people who listen to the show like out in public, the first thing they always ask us is what are the Jazz doing, man? Like I don't understand it. Like I struggle to keep watching the games because it just felt pointless to me. It felt like we were just kind of playing out the string, and I feel bad saying it, but that's what you were doing. People are not stupid, and this is what I always try to tell Ryan. Like, dude, if you would just listen to the people and understand the position you're putting your fan base in by not investing in the Jazz but investing in a hockey team, it's a bad look, bro. It's a bad look.
I would much rather lose the way Phoenix is losing than lose the way the Jazz are losing.
Yeah, lose the way Boston's lost. Like, lose the way any of these good teams have lost.
And Jazz fans in the comment section, I get it. You're pissed. There's so many Jazz fans who are like, you just only see the negative. I'm asking you what the positive is.
Yeah, what positive are we missing?
Because what's rock solid about this organization? Danny Ainge. I mean, with what Jay-Z's going through physically and in his family, thoughts and prayers. Is Will Hardy rock solid, your coach? No, he's not. Is there anybody on this roster that's like, yep, got to have that guy? Don't think there is. I'm asking seriously. Who's the player on this Jazz roster where you're like, oh, man, dog, can't trade him?
Well, Jazz fans going to say that's Laurie. But
you get a Gobert package. You trading him? Oh, Amani. Like the hyenas in the comments section over the weekend. Well, they had to trade Rudy. How could they pass up on that package? Got the same package for Laurie. Because, again, I don't mind that you traded Rudy and Don. Okay. What have you done with that leverage? Because now it's starting to look like Walker's on the outside looking in because Will Hardy's the Messiah, which he's not. You haven't done anything with it. You have all this cap space. You have all this flexibility, all this leverage. Win a championship in the next 3 years.
Yes.
Carlos Boozer is proof. Guys will take your money, but you haven't drafted well. That's the biggest problem here. If you were Golden State and you weren't spending money and you drafted Steph, Clay, and Dre, I'd be like, well, shit, that's rebuild's in good shape.
Yes, it is.
The Jazz don't have Steph, Clay, and Dre. They don't have Steph or Clay or Dre. They don't have Mike or Pippen or Horace Grant. Mike. They don't have Devin Booker. Yeah. They should have. They passed on him.
And again, I think that's the other risk here. That's the other thing I'm really concerned about. Now, Danny's at the helm, but
in the top 10 picks in this draft, is there a starter? Boy, I think that's just asking. Wow. Capazzo back in the comments section. I like it. Ryan Smith is rock solid in running the Jazz into the ground.
Damn.
And making them the laughing stock of the NBA.
I do agree that they are viewed in a pretty, embarrassing light.
Big Daddy Magic. Hey, player. Please just don't put the ER. It's playa. Don't be silly. Market and demand trade Spurs. No, he didn't. Brandon Boutler. The only positive is that they are not locked up right now. They have options. A ton of options. But they need to pick a direction. They are not hamstrung by the new CBA at the moment. Far from it. Totally agree. Fat Jesus. The Jazz need Durant. What will you give us for him?
Yeah.
How quickly Suns fans have turned on Kevin Durant. How quickly. Real quick before we get out of here. Are you ready for this?
Yeah, dude. I am incredibly ready and just, I'm just so, ready. 100%, dude. Come on, baby. Come on.
This is stupid. Reese has announced that they are making Reese's peanut butter cups in the shape of an Olympic medal. Now, remember I told you last night I texted Jake a butthole reference?
Right.
I believe what I said is he allegedly texted what he texted.
Q Janus.
I believe what I said was you can put
Careful, Monty.
Reese's can shape the orifice of any woman in the world. I can't say what I actually texted, but I basically said, shape it like a butthole. As long as you wrap it in white chocolate, I'll eat it.
His cock.
This is just another marketing ploy, and it's
yes,
brilliant.
It is. Yes, it is. Now, the only question is, and this is what you had said earlier in the show, does it or will it be made available in white chocolate? Because I like
if
the
it's
white
not,
chocolate
I'm not
more.
eating it.
Yeah, I like the white chocolate version more.
The dirty, dirty truth is that a tree or a bunny or a pumpkin or an Olympic medal
Or
tastes
a heart.
A heart tastes better wrapped in white chocolate.
Yes.
That's it. That's the whole take.
So don't be a casual. Get the white chocolate version.
Wrap it in white chocolate. If it's an Olympic medal, wrap it in gold chocolate. I don't care. Just make a white chocolate version and I'll eat it. I will absolutely. What are you reading about?
Just checking the Twitter notifications, making sure I'm not getting any hate,
Wrap it in white chocolate.
Yeah.
Wrap this in white chocolate and I'm there, dude. I am there.
Absolutely.
But you know where I'll never be? I'll never be at Circle K. What's your favorite convenience store in the comments section? It's
Monty,
there's
Buc-ee's.
two. No, I've never been to Buc-ee's. James is going to have a hysterectomy live on the show if I don't say Buc-ee's. But I'm just going. There's only two. Okay, Maverick, and I think a very close second if you drink fountain soda, AM PM. If you drink fountain soda, AM PM is probably your Huckleberry.
AM PMs, though, are a little more, they trend a little more on the raggedy side.
They trend a little more on the gang violence side of
I
convenience.
try to stay away from the AM PMs.
Now, the problem is that
Yeah.
when we lived in Phoenix, they built a brand new AM PM, which was almost immediately defaced with graffiti.
Yeah, I mean, come on, bro.
I don't mind AM PM. But when you live in the great state of Utah, Maverick is the best convenience store I've ever been to. I will not, under any circumstances, subject myself to fucking Circle K for this. Okay, this right here, this right here,
This case
might as well be empty because I'm not going to Circle K for full sugar Gatorade.
Gatorade is releasing a new flavor exclusively with Circle K called Lightning Blast, otherwise known as Gatorade Blast.
Now, it's supposedly
Allegedly.
fruit punch flavor.
Yeah.
I generally like the Gatorades that are this white color like that. Like there's a cherry, glacier cherry.
Yeah.
Okay, fine. Number one, it's full sugar, so I'll never drink it. I only drink Gatorade Zero. It is a way of life. I'm never going to a Circle K. I'll get you a toe. Yeah, and usually you can get that toe at Circle K.
Mm-hmm.
You are taking your life into your hands.
Yes, you are.
Going into a Circle K. Again, in Phoenix.
Now,
where was the double homicide?
At the freaking Circle K.
Down the street from our house.
Yes.
Double homicide at the Circle K.
Now, in Circle K's defense, South Phoenix or Phoenix in general is not a good representation of Circle K. I have been to the Circle K's in Kansas City, and they are much nicer. So I will give them that credit. But
it's Kansas City. It's Kansas City. How nice can they be?
A Circle K guy. I do not think their hot food is as good as Maverick. I do not think their
You've eaten hot food at Circle K.
I had one taquito at Circle K, and it was mid at best. At best. Yeah, I had one taquito. Yeah, I was hungry.
What, you son of a bitch? When did you turn into a taquito eating guy at a? Do you understand? Whoa!
Bro,
Whoa!
I needed a
Whoa!
I needed a fits, dude.
Bro, what, were they sold out of pizza? Do you understand the dregs of society that you have fallen into? Yeah, what are we doing, Ryan Smith? Ryan Smith has a receding hairline because he eats taquitos at Circle K.
Hey, 2 holes.
You ate taquitos at Circle K?
Okay, you keep adding the S, dude. I didn't have taquitos. I had taquito.
Oh my God. You do not eat.
I had
no,
one taquito.
No. This is not
like
hot dogs at
7
Costco.
months ago.
Yes. Yeah.
What are you saying, dude?
And
Big Daddy Magic, the heavyset one with the big gun with the sweet tongue.
You don't eat.
Listen.
Oh my God.
You've never had hot food at a gas station.
No, that's not what I said. I've never eaten taquitos off the fucking roller at Circle K. Who does that? Like, who are you?
Mom are hillbillies.
Yes, you and your mom, and I'm guessing your girlfriend are hill. Did you make your girlfriend eat those?
No, she likes them.
Oh my God.
Dude, I'm telling you, Circle K is a thing in the Midwest. People are about it.
You ate food off of a roller at a convenience store.
Actually, I got them.
What did they not have? Did they not have cheddar infused bratwursts?
No.
So you had to downgrade to
taquitos? I have to make a correction. I got them confused. It's Quick Trip, not Circle K. Just so you know.
Oh, excuse me.
Just correction.
Nobody eats hot food off of those rollers.
Okay.
I
wanted to try one. It's not like I eat them all the time.
That's like going to, what's the fried chicken place that Mrs. Monty was like, I just had to try it. Down the street. I can't remember this. Cane's. No, I went to Cane's, bro. Do you understand?
I did what I did. What do you like? What do you want from me?
But do you understand how much less respect I have for you?
Okay, check the comments.
You
section.
ate a taquito off of a roller at a QT.
What are the people saying?
That's bullshit.
Jesus Christ! Like, do you guys see what I deal with? Like, I just got up this morning. I was in a good mood. And then this guy shows up. He's like, oh, man, taquitos off of a roller. That's what life's about.
I didn't say that. I said
you know how good they were?
One, dude.
The flavor inside, it tastes like the herps. But, dude, it goes down hot and smooth. QT has, Longhorn Prep says, LOL. Dakota Tubbs, QB has lit roller items. Yeah, they're on like lit on fire. I've never eaten off of the roller. Now I want to try it.
I feel like the nomenclature, the verbiage of eating off of the roller is going to be a thing on the show now.
Elaine Tran says no Circle K. Travis says QT in Kansas City is the only C store you should go. QT is amazing.
Yeah, QT in Kansas City is pretty good. I'll give him credit.
QT is amazing.
I am not seriously though. I'm not a Circle K guy. I don't like Circle K. I
Ever.
will avoid them.
I think it's Maverick. QT is a good one. I forgot about QT. QT, Maverick, QT, AM, PM.
Yeah. What do you think? What about Holiday? What about Holiday?
The problem in Holiday is their water tastes like ass. Like it is bad.
Yeah.
It is really not good.
They're just not the convenience store quality. That's what QT and Maverick have. They're just nice stores. They feel good.
Yeah. But you don't eat off the rollers. It's all about 7-Eleven.
No. See, I don't do 7-Eleven, bro. That's not my vibe, bro.
Big Blue Horses. Circle K is the circus of C stores.
Yeah.
Yes, it is. Wish you had a Buc-ee's. Me too. Wish you were here. Wish I had a Buc-ee's because Oak State James, I've got to at some point just road trip to a Buc-ee's to get a barbecue sandwich because the guy just goes on about it.
Yeah.
You just got to be packing a Freedom Seed dispenser with a whole lot of Freedom Seeds when you go at Circle K. Pew pew.
Yeah.
You better. Fat Jesus. I only ate one taquito. It's like saying you only watch one porn.
Some of your best work.
I only had one tequila,
Mike.
bro. Well, I just had to know. Elaine Tram, Bucky's breakfast burritos look good. Now, what hot food do I eat at Maverick? The little folds, they call them. It's basically
It's a hot pocket.
It's cancer inside of a dough ball.
Okay, it's not cancer, dude.
You know, it's not good for you.
Yeah.
Yes, Jake, we love QT and KC. Yep,
Yeah,
100%.
QT
is
KC.
fire.
Yeah.
J2H losing his virginity to a quote taquito at a circle jerk. I mean, K. Oh, that's the best that you lowered yourself to food off the roller at a convenience store.
Yeah.
Like,
you do what you do, you know?
You do what you do. I wanted sex.
Yeah.
Taquitos were where it was at.
Yeah.
Jake and Morty in Rick and Morty. That's what I'm saying. Eric and Raleigh, sheets. QT as lit roller items. Yes, I saw. I plead the fifth, Damian Fowler says. So you've done it too. You've done it too. 7-Eleven in Japan are luxury. Yes, it is. That's like ABC stores. The high chews at ABC stores are just better.
Yeah.
They're just better. UW fan Jim Roma Dunze, they sell a whole lot of them if nobody eats them. The only saving grace for 7-Eleven is they have the best pizza in fast food. Like their pizza, if you go to the 7-Eleven and the pizza at 7-Eleven, and it's been 40 years. How old am I? 50. It is, it's been about 35 years since I had pizza at 7-Eleven, but it is good. It was good. QT egg rolls are fire. Okay. Dakota Tubbs, my God, the breakfast pizza at Casey's is amazing. Never heard of it.
No.
Never heard of it, but I've heard of the Advocates at theadvocates.com. This Friday, drop off your bikes, your bike parts, your broken down bicycles, scooters, you name it. They'll take it Friday in Murray at the Advocates office. Good show. Appreciate you guys being here. The Monty Show, as always, is presented by the Advocates, theadvocates.com, the best injury attorneys in the business, where you never pay a penny out of pocket for the best injury attorneys in the business. You get hurt at work today, theadvocates.com. Car accidents, dog bites,
Eat a roller,
food poisoning off of a convenience store roller. We all make choices in life, my friends. Choose the Advocates at theadvocates.com. Until tomorrow, say goodbye, Jake.
Goodbye, Jake.